following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. We are back. You are comfortably zoned with me, the Zig Zag Man, in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco, across the moat from Oakland, in the great state of California. Shanna Toft rejoins us after about, maybe 6 years. How long has it been?
Oh, goodness. It's been a while. Definitely.
It's been a while. An aspiring actress and a charmer. We're going to talk to her about what's going on. And Shanna, what state are you from? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Texas.
Oh, I'm so sorry. What part of Texas are you from? And the reason I'm asking is that I've been following you on and off on Facebook since we did a show, and your ideology is somewhat different than most Texans. Would you agree?
I agree. I'm a bit more moderate, I guess, than a lot of people here. But I am a native Texan. I was born in Corpus, raised in Austin, and I'm currently in DFW. But I don't know. I don't like politics and religion so much, so I kind of stay away from all of that.
That's what I had in mind. That's what I had in mind. What was religion is what I had in mind. I'm just curious about what formed your opinions on it. What were your parents like? What did they instill you with spiritually?
Be a good person, be the best person you can. I didn't grow up going to church, but my parents are Christian in name. So
Okay.
I was just raised with, really good respect for people in general, and religion really doesn't have I don't know really the best way to answer that question, but it definitely was not a religious household at all.
Okay.
Basically, it was I was raised to be incredibly respectful of other people, but my parents haven't had the best experiences with religion. So, and my dad's very open-minded, very, very open-minded, and he has studied a bunch of different religions, and I actually did some of that as well. My dad's like more into the psychology of why people are certain ways, though, and that's always fascinated him. And so, like, he has studied all kinds of different denominations, and just kept a really open mind. And I'm more of, I believe that they are all correct and incorrect, and nobody has all of the answers. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, that sounds good, and I'm just wondering how you get along with your fellow Texans in general with that philosophy.
Well, we, for the most part, I just keep to myself. That's my opinion.
Okay. Now, how you're raising a son. What are you passing on to him that differs from the way you were brought up? And what are you passing on to him that's similar to the way you were brought up?
Well, I actually have 5 kiddos, and I've been a single mom to them for a really long time now. But basically, ways of thinking weren't really forced on me for the most part. So I've raised my kids to make their own choices in life, and deal with the consequences of those choices, good or bad. And so, like, we did the whole, going to church thing because it's expected. I mean, pretty much if you're of a certain demographic, you're expected to be going to church around here, especially.
Okay.
But we did that. And I actually worked for a church for some time as well, and there were just things that were revealed during all of that, business practices and behind the scenes things. And I was their financial analyst, and I saw some stuff and pointed out some stuff that they didn't like, and so I wound up getting laid off. But that's okay because I do have a tainted perspective from all of that regard, but also I never really felt like I fit in anywhere. Like I went to churches, all over the place, and never really felt like I fit in. Different denominations,
okay.
blah, 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 and so I didn't want to, I did force it on my kids when they were younger because we had just moved back to Texas and it was expected and blah, 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 blah. But, I didn't want to, I didn't want to be that person. After a certain point, I was like, okay, they've been exposed to this. They need to make their own decisions. So we have a lot of different beliefs in my household, and I'm totally fine with that. They are choosing their own paths, and we're very open-minded in my household. So I guess what I did similarly was, introduce them to religion, but what I've done differently is let them make their own decisions with that.
Okay. The reason I brought up religion, it just seems like you're a free thinker and that you would have been in conflict with a lot of the folks in your community along the way, given your where you live. It isn't a right or wrong, and I admire the way you're going about introducing your kids to it. How old are your children, Sarah?
My oldest will be 23 toward the end of January. My second oldest got to see his 21st birthday last month. We weren't sure if he was going to make it to 21 years old, considering he was diagnosed with end-stage renal disease March 4th of this year. His kidneys failed, and it's been a rough year. It's been a very, very rough year for us. But I have a 19-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter as well.
Wow. Well, did they help raise each other? Did
yes.
they make it easy on you? Good.
They actually did. Even when I was married, I was a single parent. I'll just, in a nutshell, I did not get help. Married, divorced, I have not gotten help. And so that's okay, because when the marriage dissolved, it was just another day in our household. So there wasn't any oh no, I don't have this other person anymore. It was, oh, thank goodness I don't have this other person anymore.
Right. The famous baseball guru, Branch Rickey, had an expression, addition by subtraction.
Yes.
And what he meant was he could get rid of a player and make them a better team without even replacing him.
Yes.
And I think that might fit, not just in your case, in a lot of our cases in dealing with people. Sometimes it's better without them. Simply put.
I agree. We are so much happier. You know, I've been divorced 13 years, and we are so much happier.
Wow. I'm sure you still celebrate that day, the Day of Freedom.
Oh, yes, Bastille Day.
I've had a few celebrations in my life, not just...
Yes.
You don't have to be married to celebrate addition by subtraction. So
that's true. I just had to do that again last year too. I mean, great person, but just wasn't adding. He was adding stress and not being my peace. So I didn't sign on for that.
Right.
Just like, okay, bye now.
Nice. That you can just simply dismiss your problems by so doing.
Exactly.
And makes it nice. You mentioned Austin. How does Austin differ from most cities in Texas? I understand it's extremely liberal.
It is the California of Texas, and I grew up there, and I enjoyed it so much, except for the allergies. There is so much cedar down there. Oh my word! But now
you're not allergic to other Texans, are you?
Yeah.
No. Okay. What is there? Water? Is there recreation? Tell me about Austin City. What makes it different from the other cities?
Well, it used to be a lot, quote unquote, weirder than it is now. Like when I was growing up down there, it was like, it was not quite like New York, but now it's more like. It used to be so much more fun, actually, when I was younger, and it was not being overrun by businesses buying up properties and turning them into Airbnbs and whatever. So it's changed an awful lot, but it's still more free than other areas. Like you can pretty much practice whatever you believe in the Austin area, and people accept you. Not like being and not like being in the belt buckle of the Bible Belt.
City. Oh yeah. Well, I didn't even realize until not long ago that the Bible Belt really extends into Texas. I thought it.
Yes.
Initially, I thought, growing up, I thought it was like Mississippi and Alabama and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. So you've avoided a lot of the pitfalls in life just by being independent and what have you. What's the first thing you'd recommend that people partake in when they visit Austin? What's the highlight of that city?
These days, I would say definitely go visit what shops are left down there. They're. Man, I'm really bummed that there's no longer like this huge costume store that you could go into. I would have recommended that, like, hands down, because it was just like incredible, just this huge warehouse of costumes that you could purchase or rent. But now I would say probably, well, when it's the right season, you want to go check out Lake Travis, and you want to check out the caves in the area. It is kind of pricey to go underground in the caves these days, but they're so neat. I love spelunking.
Do they have tours? Do they have tours, guided tours of the caves?
They do. Yes, they have guided tours down there. I used to do summer science field trips and stuff too, like with my school, and they would take us places like Enchanted Rock, and it's just really cool places you can go and hike and explore, and just check out really cool scenery down there. But these days, I don't know. I mean, I would keep an eye out for like South by Southwest and other film festivals and things like that. Maybe check out a UT game or something along those lines. I don't get to Austin as often as I used to. I used to go there for in-person auditions, and then I'd be able to do, various things around town. But now they're almost exclusively self-tapes, and so I don't have to drive anywhere. And so I don't get there nearly as often as I used to. But I will be back down in the area at some point. Should be next year. We're going to be filming something I can't go into detail about. We're still in pre-production for it, but it's a big deal. So I'll be able to enjoy the different sites and restaurants and activities in the area again before too terribly much longer. But
Beautiful.
I loved it when I was there.
You're an actress, and how did you get into acting? We may have covered this in the first time we spoke, but it's been a long time. So
sure.
It
It was something that I was always drawn to in school and everything. I did theater all through school. My parents never wanted me to be an actor, but I didn't let that stop me, and I signed up for everything that I could in school. And so I did a lot of theater. And then I moved up to Colorado after I met my ex-husband and had a long hiatus from any kind of acting. Then we wound up moving to California.
Where did you live in California?
In Elk Grove, outside of Sacramento.
Oh,
and actually, my youngest daughter was born in Sacramento. But yeah, we moved there for a health issue with my youngest son, and there were just much more advanced hospitals there. And he was in a situation where, quite honestly, where we were, if it wasn't a ski injury, they didn't know what was going on. So we needed to move to literally save his life. So we moved to California and got in with a cutting edge hospital over there. But that was back when MySpace was a thing, and I actually saw a MySpace contest thing to be featured on the DVD of. It was directed by Tom Brady. It was a football movie. The Comebacks. Yes, it was The Comebacks, and I actually won the contest. So I'm featured on that DVD, and I did some like auditions and stuff out there in LA for, hair dye and various other things. But, we kind of had a lot of other stuff going on when we lived in California, so I couldn't really focus on the acting part. But when I came back to Texas and my family came with me, then I got divorced and got to start doing my own thing again. And a friend of mine she was like, hey, I saw this audition. You should really check it out. And I was like, oh, yeah, awesome. That would be great. And so I went to the audition, and it was for one of those showcase things, which I do not recommend anybody get involved with those. They just want to take your money and, make you promises. I didn't pay for the showcase or anything like that, but I made some connections during that time. And then I started just auditioning for different things and working as an extra on various TV shows and movies and making more connections that way. And at this point in my career, I don't really do non-union work anymore unless my agent sends it my way because it's paying really nice. But I've also made it to a point where I am a supporting lead in a major motion picture I cannot discuss yet. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you give us some hints? Who are the producers and who are the directors?
I am really, really not allowed to mention anything, but they are very recognizable producers and production houses and lead actors and supporting actors.
It sounds to me like this is your first real break in acting.
It is, and we have been in pre-production on this thing for it'll be 2 years in February. So it actually started out as an independent film, and we were going to film it 2 summers ago, and then it got picked up by a production house, and so pre-production had to start over. And then we had the writer's strike and the actor's strike, and we're still like getting through all of that. Even though the strikes are over, there's still a lot that needs to be done before they can officially greenlight us to get everybody on location.
Now, if one is on strike, I mean, acting, insurance, whatever it is, and there's settlement, is there still bitterness between the two sides that need to be worked through?
Oh, man, yeah, there's I haven't seen the full details of the deal, but what I have seen is just like, come on, man. This could have been resolved so much better.
Months ago, probably.
It really could have. And on the actor's side, it still was not the best deal. The actors were able to get some of the things that were on the table, but I'm grateful that
does it
that
turn
people were
out
still
to get you some back pay and some make good on all the months that you've been not working?
No. I was. There were certain things that people were still allowed to work on, like commercials. I do a ton of commercials, and so that was something that was still able to be worked on during that time because commercials are not associated with a specific studio. And, like reality shows could continue and, various other stuff could continue. Or if they got the it was incorrectly called a waiver, but if they got permission from SAG to go ahead and move forward with their production because their production met all of the requirements that SAG wanted, and they weren't affiliated with with a specific studio or, production house, then it was fine. So there are a ton of projects that we're still allowed to continue.
So you're able to make a living, let's put it that way.
No, I mean, a lot of people had to go into other gig work or actually go out and get jobs and that sort of thing. The timing of everything was really, really bad for us because the writer's strike happened right after my son was diagnosed. And then the actor's strike happened not too long after that. And so, we had no income at all for months and months and months and months. And it was detrimental. But we have survived a day at a time. So,
well, you're filling us in on what it's like to be an actor.
Yes.
In the best of times and the worst of times, it's going to be an up and down fight. And
absolutely.
How do you keep? What I'd like to know is how do you keep your ego intact?
Well, it's like my dad really hates the fact that I'm an actor, and he lets me know every chance he gets. But I just have to, smile and, give him a nod and to acknowledge I heard what he said. But, I don't spend my energy trying to convince him that this is a good choice. I just do it anyway.
Okay.
But we also don't overspend on things. We're not I don't know. I don't use credit cards. If I don't have the money for it, I just don't buy it, that sort of thing. So, it's I don't know, just even though there have been significant struggles this year, I look back and I'm like, you know what? We made it despite all of this. We made it. So
you made it this far, and
exactly.
Just keep applying your knowledge, and you'll make it further on.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, because we're getting a good insight into your field of endeavor. How did you, and how would say my kid wanted to go into acting? What advice would you give me about finding an agent and working with an agent? How does that come about in acting?
So many people think that you can just say, okay, I want to be an actor, I need an agent right away. No. If you go looking for an agent right away, the ones who will accept you are the ones who want you to pay up front for things. You will get taken advantage of, or you will get a really inexperienced boutique agent who isn't going to be really helpful in getting you roles and that sort of thing anyway. So I never, ever, ever recommend immediately looking for an agent, because legitimate agents are not going to take you. You need to go out there and get good training. You don't need to go to college and get a degree necessarily, but you do need to find at least one really good coach and consistently go to those classes and get the training, fine-tune your craft, make connections, get referrals from your connections to the agencies, go to the SAG website and vet their list of approved agents. you're not necessarily going to be signing with a union agent right away, but you need to vet them and make sure they're not going to be, ripping you off or making you go to their school and use their photographer and that sort of thing. There are so many so-called agencies who take advantage of people who want to make it big in the industry. You don't go into this industry with the idea that you're going to make it big, because most people don't make it big. If you're going into it for the fame and fortune, you need to find a different goal, because, if it happens, awesome. But, that's you do it for the love of the craft, not for, oh, hey, I'm going to be rich and famous. And as far as agents go, I have to circle back to that because that was the actual question. The legitimate ones are going to be looking for that training, because it's their name, their reputation on the line when they submit you for something. So they want to know that you're going to be bringing your A game.
What would make it easier for folks not to be ripped off? What can you identify that there's going to be problems early on, and just to cut it short rather than pursue it? What would you look for as a warning sign that, hey, I better stay away from these people?
If they want any money at all up front and they want to put you on their website so they can promote you and that sort of thing, no, it doesn't work like that. Agents don't charge up front. I mean, if it's like $25 a year or something like that, and they've been vetted as, a SAG agency or something, that's a little bit different. I do have an agent up in Utah who does that, and she is SAG verified, and that's a little bit different than, hey, pay us this amount of money and you have to go to our school and use our photographer, and we're gonna show you this list of things that you could have submitted to yourself. There's a couple of scam companies out there that I would love to mention, but
right.
Stay away from anybody who wants money up front. I mean, seriously, and there are plenty of them out there who want money up front.
That's
a
very good rule of thumb. If they're asking you for the money, they've got it wrong. If they're asking for a young actor or actress for money, for an agent to make money based on what you make, is fine, but not to make it more difficult by putting you into debt by getting together with you.
Exactly.
That isn't. Tell me about your mentor. You mentioned that you had someone, mentor or teacher, that you were impressed by and really helped you. What was his or her name?
As far as the acting world is concerned, it would be my acting coach, Glenn Morshower. He has been in the industry since he was 15 years old, and he's like late 60s now, so he knows what he's talking about. And that man has literally been in almost everything I've watched my entire life. And he is so down to earth. He is so kind, so generous, so not stuck on himself. He has such a huge heart, such an open mind, and he loves to teach. He he loves to teach. I mean, he's got his main acting class in DFW where he lives, but he also has class in Atlanta and LA and Salt Lake City, and he just, whenever he's in those areas, he pops in and teaches his class, and gets together with people. And one thing I miss about in-person class, because we had to go to Zoom when COVID hit, but we used to go out for dinner as a class after and everything, and we would just have a really great time. And we'd even go over to Glenn's house on occasion, and watch like The Resident with him, because a new season came out, or something like that. So he's really made a huge positive impact in my life.
Is there anyone that greased the way for you in particular?
I wouldn't say there's any one person, but as far as getting booked on things outside of my primary agent here in Texas, I would say I know one casting agency, and the people who work for this one casting agency very, very well. I've worked with them for years on multiple projects now, and I would say they, as a team, kind of greased things for me to continue to be able to make more and more connections with people. But
do you want to give that agency a plug?
Sure. It's Legacy Casting, and Andre Constantinescu runs it, and Jeremy Burgett is a really, really great friend who has been on almost every single set that I've been on with Legacy Casting as well. Yeah, they've paved the way for those connections, for sure. They really have.
Good. Hey, you have taught us an awful lot about what it takes, the persistency and the stick-to-itiveness to do what you do. I got to say, I'm very impressed. I can't wait for your project.
Thank you. Yeah, we can't wait either. Right. It's likely going to be late spring, early summer when we start shooting it. We were wanting it to come out in theaters this summer, but that might not happen. It just depends on how everything goes after the first of the year with tying up some loose ends. But yeah, it's constant progress and much anticipated, getting everybody on location and working with these people that I have just been fascinated with for a good portion of my life, especially as an adult. And I cannot wait to work with these people, especially one of them is actually my connection, and he's coming over from the UK, and he was on the show Vikings. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that's all I can really say there. We have some American legends involved in this one also, and that's all I can really say.
How exciting for you. And a lot of hard work went into it on your part. So it's not going to be something that's going to all of a sudden surprise you. You know, wow, it's not going to change you. In other words, you
right. Right.
So, and that does change people. Success does change people in many ways. I wish you luck on that, and I wish you luck with your youngest son getting a complete recovery down the line.
Thank you. Yeah. And actually, it's my second oldest, but I have a lot of kids, so no worries there. He actually needs a kidney transplant. And he'll wind up needing at least one more in his lifetime because he's so young. But you know, it's a long process. I mean, I've been doing his hemodialysis at home for 9 months now, 5 days a week, and you know, you do what you need to do in order to survive, no matter what. I mean, whether it's the ups and downs with career or ups and downs with health or a combination like it has been for us this year. I mean, I don't really understand how we made it this far. It's almost the end of 2023. And it's like we have been hit with challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge this year. And it's like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't have time for that. We're just going to do what we got to do here. So, you know.
You're terrific, and I so admire your persistence and your attitude. You have a smile in your voice through it all. You're not complaining. You're just stating facts.
Right, right.
And you're not blaming your woes on anyone. I can't wait till you're a big star.
Thank you. I think mindset really matters. It truly, truly does. And, you know, we've had so many things happen this year alone that would have sent so many other people into like this deep spiral of depression. And it's like you can't let yourself get sucked into that. You know, it's like find something, even one thing to be grateful for each day. And that's something that helps you get through that day. Like every single day, I am grateful my son is alive and I can help him by doing his treatments and looking after him. And, you know, and we're a family of actors. We're all in this motion picture together whenever we can get that started. We've done many other projects together. You know, it's, if anything, this year has brought us closer, especially my son who needs a kidney and me. It has brought us closer, but it's brought everybody else closer too, because, you know, everybody helps each other anyway in our house, but the others have really stepped it up. You know, I do have to get on to them every once in a while, like, hey, you know, but for the most part, everybody else has really stepped it up and has really formed a good foundation to keep everything positive in the house, and we don't allow any outside stressors beyond our control. You know, we don't listen to toxic people. We stay away. You know, we don't surround ourselves with toxic people. It's like, yeah, no, leave that out there, away from us. We don't, you know, and we don't pay attention to the media and all this negativity. It's like, no, it's just, that's not allowed in my house. It's just not, you know. Be positive or go away. So.
Shanna, if you weren't an actress, what would your avocation be?
Well, I mean, I originally went to school to be a chemical engineer. So I would be working in a lab somewhere, or I also went to school for business. And I've done accounting. I probably would either be in a lab or in an accounting office again at this point if I wasn't an actor.
Well,
Although I
I'm
will be
sure
going back
those...
to school to get my nursing degree.
Oh,
Because
really?
I do nursing. Yeah, I do nursing 5 days a week anyway, so I might as well be licensed.
Right, you're talking about helping your son.
Yes.
You're terrific. You have folks that are going to be rooting for you from the Comfortably Zoned Network, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for being here, ladies and gentlemen. It was my pleasure to have Shanna. Am I pronouncing that right now?
Yes.
Shanna with us. How about that? Be well, my friend.
Thank you so much.
And,
thank you so much.
Thank you for listening, everybody. It's the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I'm Ralph Tycho, the weak link of it all. And the only thing I do is get interesting people as guests. And today is no exception. I'm proud of the producing work I did. And it's been a pleasure to know you for the second time.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Comfortably Zoned, and adios and happy trails.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned Network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices, and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.